Yeah, I should probably pee. I might just pee right here in my pants. So
No, that's good. I'll wait.
you want to watch me pee?
No. No. My God.
Hold on.
Guys, I don't know if you saw my shirt here. I hate to interrupt. Happy time, but
Yeah, no, I saw
Oh,
something.
very nice.
So what does it say? It's hard to read.
Nothing cuts like a Sawyer.
When it comes to chainsaws, ask a pro. Nice.
What's it say? Nothing cuts
like a Sawyer.
A Sawyer. Oh, okay. I was showing Mark. I got my Chop Top pins, and this one says "Music is my life."
Oh, it's heavy. Yeah.
And then my other buttons of Chop Top isms.
Why am I even called Chop Top? I know I creamed my pants just now, just seeing those buttons. But hey,
well, next time they come around, you got to come to a Cinema Wasteland with us when we go see them. You know, meet Caroline Williams.
And so I have the one says, "Lick my plate."
What do they all say?
Lick my plate, you dog dick. Dog will hunt. Get that bitch. Burn her like a rat. Burn her like a rat. And peel that pig and slice him thick. And then the music is my life.
Yeah. Look, can I ask a request in person? I had to make a phone call, but it's too disembodied.
Oh my God. I can be Stretch. Scream.
Yeah, you can be Stretch. You got to have the shorts for it. You can do that.
Oh, good. Are you?
Say it again, Joe. I'm getting a boner. Hold on. Nope. Say it again. I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
I am Chop Top.
I am Bloodletter. I'm Bloodletter.
And you are listening to Heavy Metal Horror. You know, you guys can say that with me. We can all say it together. Let's all say it together. Like we're going to go over that mountaintop and see the sweet Lord Jesus. Let's go have a meeting on the mountain. Here we go. You are listening to Heavy Metal Horror. Welcome, kiddies. Tonight's episode is going to be something very special. We are going to be discussing one of our favorite movies of all time, and that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Part 2. 1986. It is just a fantastic horror movie. It's a direct sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is, I think, arguably one of the more seminal horror movies of all time. This has a completely different tone in that it's much lighter. It doesn't have that kind of documentary feel, but it tells the story of a DJ, if you're unfamiliar with the movie, named Stretch, who gets involved with the Sawyer brothers, the chainsaw killers, because there's a live killing on the radio and these two guys are calling her Bratlat's big titties. And so she gets pulled in along with Lefty, who's a Texas Ranger who's been tracking down these murderers for 12 years or so, because his connection to the original murder, it was his nephew, I believe, that got killed. And that's when things kind of take off from there. So I'll turn it over. I'd like to make a request. Maybe that Chop Top could talk a little bit about the movie.
That Lefty request record.
You know that. That's heavy.
It's heavy. For me, I think, it's interesting that Tobe Hooper directed this one. I don't think he intentionally wanted to make it like a comedy horror. No, really. As when I first saw it, it terrified me. sheer, what do I want to say? This the intensity. It was just once it just never stopped. And I was unnerved after first watching that. It was really unnerving for me. And scary. But then more of the comedy elements came in. I don't know if Hooper intentionally did that with that film, or if it was just something with the writers. And I mean, not that it's a bad thing. It's I just don't think it was intentionally made for that. But it was very unnerving for me when I first saw that. I was shaken. It takes a lot for a movie to get me to do that, even today.
I do believe it was intentional to do the humor. I mean, it was meant to be. Those comic elements are intentional, unlike the original. T-Stamp.
Just bleak. That's just pure horror. Yeah. I do think, and I didn't know that it was intentionally made with the comedic elements, and of course, so far different from the first one, which was just bleak and just, obviously very low budget, but man, it still got the whole, really jolted you. So I think with this one, I mean, just the lines are just, they're hysterical. There's so many things that are hysterical about it. And, but I know it's just unnerving because it just, once it took off, it never let up. It kept, the intensity was unbelievable in it. Yeah, it really scared the hell out of me.
All right. Bloodletter. What do you think?
I really like the music.
We'll talk about the music. I'm a teenage gooba.
Yeah, so that was like one of the things they opened it up with, the Cramps, Goo Goo Monk, and then the first scene where they're driving down the bridge or whatever, and they're chop tops dancing in the back of the truck and killing those preppy boys. I heard Oingo Boingo, a song called No One Lives Forever, and I think that was like probably one of the first movies that Oingo Boingo, was in the soundtrack. And they also wrote like Weird Science. And then Danny Elfman left Oingo Boingo and did a ton of other soundtracks, like the
everything.
Tales from the Crypt.
From the Grip. I got the grip. Ow!
She's got the grip.
Tales from the Crypt, The Simpsons,
and pretty
Batman.
much everything. Yeah, everything done. He's done every soundtrack to every Tim Burton movie.
Yes. So it was good to hear Oingo Boingo
and Rugrats. No,
yes,
that was Mark Mothersbaugh. Excuse me.
Oh yeah. No, that's Devo. Yeah.
Right. No, I love the soundtrack. It's great, and I'm glad you know these bands. And I'm like, I don't know most of them, but now that I know who they are, I'd heard of the Cramps, but never listened to them, and now I will have to. I'm gonna have to go.
In 1978, back in 1978, they played in a mental hospital too. They were like, they would have recreation time and music time in this mental state hospital. And somebody was just like, hey, yeah, let's get the Cramps and the Mutants, And so they filmed it. So there is YouTube videos of, the show that they played in there. And it didn't go over well. And they never, would book the Cramps again or anything.
Here's my surprise face. Bringing this punk band to a mental institution.
Yeah. So, it was really funny. And Lex Interior, the lead singer from the Cramps, is from Akron, from Stowe. He was born in Stowe and grew up in Akron and stuff like that.
Oh. So he's like, we can give him a call and say, hey, you want to do a show?
He died.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
You're now a
and then there was another band in there called Lords of the New Church, and they also got their beginning in Cleveland. Steve Bader was part of the Dead Boys, and he was from Cleveland. Stuff like that. So
this warms my heart, Bloodletter, that
more
musical stuff. That's great. Mm-hmm. That you know the history of this great Cleveland music, and I didn't know these bands. Yeah, and everyone's coming from Ohio, from Cleveland.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean they have this quote unquote rock and roll Hall of Fame, but they have a lot of great music, underground music coming out.
They do.
Yeah, absolutely. Great underground
rock, except for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because nothing says rock and roll like Whitney Houston. So
Jay-Z.
Yeah. So that's excellent.
So that back to the movie though, I like the way how Stretch You know, when Leatherface has chased her into that the vault or what is it? I don't know what it is. Like
when he's in the radio station,
right,
you mean?
yeah, and he's in the
Yeah,
record room or
back
whatever.
room yeah.
And I was like, I liked how she was like used her sexuality to get out of that and hit him right in the heart.
What does she say, Bloodletter? What did you say to him? Can you reenact that part? If I'm Leatherface, just pretend I've got my chainsaw running up your thigh. What does she say? Come on, you know it's how good are you? Oh, you're really, really good. So yeah, so do that, Bloodletter. I got my chainsaw. Okay, and you say,
how good are you?
oh, that's come on.
Oh, that's not the way.
There goes my penis. Right back inside, like a frightened
On a
turtle.
shell. Yep.
No, you gotta do it like she does. Come on, all breathy and whispery.
How good are you?
Oh, you're really, really good. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'll let you and Chop Top here act it out.
We've done that so many times before. It's not even
Hands
funny.
up.
That's usually what we do when we have our little slumber parties.
That's right. You know, one of my favorite scenes is, and I swear it's the longest breathy sigh scene I ever heard. It's LG when he's like, oh, shit.
And then he spits.
It's like, God,
right.
You're just like, yeah, like, LG, they got you too. Darling, falling to pieces on you.
Darling, don't be afraid, darling.
Yeah. He's all chopped up and stuff.
I'll never think of electric knives the same way. When it comes out for Thanksgiving, I'll hear that. And I'll be like, yep, LG, that turkey's been peeled.
On the bird.
Peel that turkey.
Yeah. And
thick.
Back to Mother's Day, that girl killed.
Was it
Adley with the
electric knife?
Automatic steak knife too.
Yeah,
right.
The turkey carver.
That was one of the only good shots of the film. But
yeah. See, so that's the key to a good horror movie. You must remember this for the Cyclops film.
Electric carving knife.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as long as you can do, how good are you?
Bonafide hit right there.
Right. Well, I love that scene too with Caroline Williams. Actually, I used to teach TCM2 in my English classes, and we taught that scene. There's some theories about horror, and I used a short story by Angela Carter called "A Company of Wolves," which is a dark sexual retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. And in that scene, Red, who's all of 12 or 13, seduces the wolf into not eating her by basically using her body, pure virginal body, to seduce him, and kind of calms the wolf down so he won't eat her. And so I see that very much a parallel to what Stretch does in Leatherface. Leatherface is getting ready to kill her, and here's Stretch doing using her sexuality, to disarm Leatherface. And from that point of the movie, the rest of the movie on, he's kind of got this thing for her, like he saves her, rescues her. Look at Stretch. She's my favorite, all, but look, she's been red-faced. Bubba's been playing with her. Bubba likes her. Bubba's got a girlfriend.
Bubba's got a girlfriend. Bubba's got a girlfriend.
Partner like a rat. Yeah, there are so many great, funny lines in this movie. And the scene where Chop Top shows up at the radio station is really uncomfortable and really menacing because he's got this coat hanger. He's like taking a lighter and lighting it. He's scratching at his head, and then he's like picking something off and eating it. And like the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, what the fuck? It was really gross. And now I just see the funny part. After seeing it 150 times, but the
I think no matter how many times, it's always disturbing. That part is like, I think it's probably one of the most disturbing parts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrific, and then, but there's this combination of menace, the horror, and there's this underlying kind of comedy that goes along with it that is simultaneous, which is a lot of movies strive for that, they don't quite achieve it. Like Scream is too self-aware for that. Those horror-comedies sometimes are really good, like Night of the Creeps. We'll do it. Slither is another example of a really great horror-comedy, which we'll do an episode on later down the road. But that sense of, like the scene that really got me was when Chop Top, he's just beating the shit out of LG with that hammer. And he's like, incoming mail. And he's like, boom. He keeps on hitting LG, who's like,
feet are going,
he's like, now I'm flashback. One and a two and a three. He's just beating the shit out of him. And then great lines like, look, I got a bonus body. Peel that pig and slice him thick. But then he's like, he's asking Stretch, like, can I make a request in person? Music is my life. Me and Bubba, my little brother, we listen to it every night. And then it's just this horrible, very tense situation. And he's like, could I have an autograph? You could send it to a far out fan.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So I remember, Bloodletter, when we went to see them at Cinema Wasteland on the 20th anniversary in 2006, I had Bill Moseley sign my poster, my TCM poster, to a far out fan. I had Lou Perriman sign his shit, his sign, and I had Caroline Williams sign it. How good are you? I felt a little creepy asking her, but because this was her first ever fan tour.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, we were talking, and I told her all about that I was teaching. I became Facebook friends with her, and had told her, hey, I'm teaching this in my class, and she emailed me through Facebook a note for the class, like saying, hey, this is Caroline, and hope you're all having a great time learning about this. And she told us, told everyone about the final girl concept. And then she became actually Facebook friends with some of my class. They'd actually written to her, and they kept correspondence, which I thought for several years it was just really awesome. Just a great person,
Yeah.
So for those stories, but the movie itself straddles this borderline, and then the humor comes in because you have the Sawyer family, and they're just so psychotic, and the moments with Drayton, I told you boys, and I told you, don't call me on this phone, god damn it, what?
Well, you coon shit,
fudge packers, you'll be the death of me yet. And it's just so over the top and funny, and it's his diatribes about the working man. Always gets it in the ass. Politicians don't pay taxes. Movie stars don't pay taxes. The small businessman gets fucked in the ass. And which I think it's a great satire. A lot of this really kind of biting, especially in the Reagan era that we were in at the time. It's really focusing on that political stuff, but it was kind of subversive in that way, but buried in all the maniacal humor with Leatherface wearing the dead skins and treating this like a real family business. Get that eyeball pate working on thousands of hungry fans.
It's one of those hard shelled peppercorns.
Yeah, Drayton, when he wins the chili contest, whoop. One of them hard shelled peppercorns. I say I love this town. This town loves prime meat. Right, and it's the family dynamic is what is so hysterical and comical in the midst of this horror, and I see the two seamlessly kind of feeding off of one another, because it is still terrifying. I mean, Chop Top is still terrifying and menacing, and Leatherface is too, because they're just so crazy.
One of the best Leatherfaces, I gotta say, in the Texas Chainsaw series, I think.
Yeah, Bill Johnson is really great. I remember asking him at Cinema Wasteland. I asked him what his favorite part of doing the movie was, and he said, getting paid. And he asked, like, okay. He says, hey, you want to go out and get high? I'm like, thanks. But no, I was a little alarmed about the possibility of going outside with Leatherface getting high and then waking up with my skin peeled off. That's what I was thinking might just happen. Like, no, man, I'm cool. Thanks.
He might have done a dance for you.
Yeah.
A
Show
little
us,
bit of a
Bloodletter.
shimmy, shimmy.
Show us.
Shimmy, shimmy,
There
shimmy.
we go.
Oh, shimmying, man.
Right. Yeah.
I wish I would have known. I would have gone.
Well, next time they come back around, we will definitely hit the circuit and go see them. There are tons of memorable lines. I mean, Chop Top knows all the lines by heart, like I do. You know, what are some of your favorite lines, Chop Top?
Oh gosh, you get that bitch, Bubba? You get that bitch? Yeah, you're my fave. And, to a far out fan, just everything. I mean, comes out of Bill Moseley's mouth and as his characters, a lot of times hysterical. Just
yeah,
it's just it sets up. I don't know. It takes away a lot of times, like you said, that it's such a nice blend. It takes off from that the horror aspect of the brutalness, the intensity. You have that nice mix in there with those humorous moments and those lines, and I think that's just a nice mix, a nice balance, and yeah. I mean, but yeah, those are just a few.
It's like death eating a cracker. Death eating a cracker. Bill Moseley, I asked him about the lines. I said, "There's a lot of those." I said, "How much of that was improv?" And he said quite a few of those lines were improv that he just made up. Like death eating a cracker, that was improv. Yeah. You know, I'm not sure about the burner like a rat. But I thought that was fantastic. And if you ever meet Bill Moseley, a sweet guy, really totally cool, very gracious and giving with his time with the fans. And when you hear him laugh, it sounds just like fucking Chop Top, man. It is just like the scariest, like creepy, like, oh, okay, that's a real laugh. Okay, that was scary to me. I don't know if you recall any of that Bloodletter or not.
I don't.
Yeah,
my memory's shot.
That's okay. I still remember being there with
But-
you.
Still doesn't. Oh, go ahead, Bloodletter. I'm sorry.
No, my favorite line is when Lefty is there with getting all the chainsaws, and he starts shoving. He's like, "Oh, take it out there for a test run," and he starts shaving it or whatever. And then the salesman was like, "Oh, what did he say? Oh, my banana! Oh, my aching banana!
Oh, my aching banana! Yeah, yeah, that's hilarious.
That's like one of my favorite lines.
Oh, my aching banana. And a brilliant director by the name of Mark Justice put that line in his second movie, Sorority Sisters versus Cyclops, or versus Sasquatch. Yes. He always takes lines from other movies and puts them in his own. Right. That's a great line. And I love when Lefty shows up underground at the Texas Battle Land. He's being berated by Drayton. Is that the American way of entering a man's house? Singing like that?
How much you want? Cold, hard
He's
cash.
like, I'm the Lord of the Harvest. What is that? Some kind of new health food bunch? Is that what this is? Is it a cash money? Is there any cash involved? Well, let me tell you, right here.
Hey guys, I crack up too when I see him. Lefty shows up and he's like, "I'm bringing it down. I'm bringing it on."
That was my other favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just running through there, and I was like, I don't think that's very safe. You're on the top floor. You got to get out of there.
My favorite scene is when they bring Grandpa out. Oh, Grandpa, don't worry about it. He's a one hitter.
One hitter.
You be careful now. You're balling up his shit.
He misses and misses and misses. Oh, come on, Grandpa, get on with it.
It's dinner time. It's dinner time. We love you. We love you. Yeah, very, very, very creepy. And by this time, Stretch has just yelled herself hoarse. And I had asked Caroline how they filmed those scenes. She said they had one day of screaming scenes and one day off, so she wouldn't give her a chance for her voice to heal up. There's just so many funny lines. The movie is just, it is, I think, one of the finest examples of comedy horror in that it is every bit both. It is terrifying at times. That's when I first saw it. The first time I saw it was at a drive-in, actually. I don't know what the double feature was, maybe Blood Beach or something. when Leatherface has Stretch cornered in the radio station, she's in that big bucket of ice, and he's running that chainsaw up her thigh. I don't know who's going to live or who's going to die. I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, he's going to fucking rip her in half. He's just going to start with the hoo-ha and go all the way up, and that's it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But there is a menace to Chop Top when he's coming in. There is a menace to all of them when they're working together. But they themselves are hysterical. Just really funny, the lines that they say. And this movie is significantly gorier than the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you're thinking that movie's going to be really gory. It's really not. The original TCM has hardly any gore at all. There's the one really gory scene, I think, where the woman, the blonde, gets hung on the meat hook. But that's not a whole lot. It's just that now with Tom Savini coming in, doing the gore effects, I think one of the greatest shots, and it's he makes sure that everyone sees it because it is so cool, is when Lefty drives that chainsaw right through Leatherface, and he's like got the saw right through his gut, and Leatherface turns to the side so you can see the chainsaw completely through him.
Fully intentional.
Yeah. And then then Drayton's on the bottom rifling through these corpses. He's underneath the table. He's like, oh, come here, Nubbins. Where's that old fuck you, Charlie? Oh, man makes a living by hooking and crooking, and then the gods go kick him right in the balls with a knock.
I really got burn my beans on that one.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Took care of my hymns. Sure. Burned my beans bad on that one. Well,
I know. I felt bad that Lefty didn't make it out.
Yeah,
I kind of felt bad for him too,
because he was really trying to save her.
Death and all serious, and wanted to absolutely bring justice because it wasn't getting done on the law enforcement front. Go figure. But yeah. So I really kind of felt bad too. I agree with Bloodletter on that.
I'm going to say that I'm not going to rule out that we can't bring Lefty back because Leatherface came back in Leatherface 3.
Oh,
he had a chainsaw going right through him. So, yeah. So,
was Grandpa in Leatherface 3 too? Was Grandpa still around?
No, it was a whole different kind of family, wasn't it?
I don't recall. I remember it not being a good movie. I thought the poster was better than the movie because it had the Saws family, which is how Bill Johnson signed my autograph, which is really cool. He said the Saws family and so are you. I'm like, oh, that's just great. Yeah, it's a forgettable movie. I wanted it to be so much better, but the remake of the original Texas Chainsaw had some good moments, but it strays too much from the original formula. The family's not necessarily cannibals, and that's what really made it terrifying. The idea that these families are eating people, killing people, and that was really big in the the 80s. I mean, going back to like Motel Hell, which also involves a chainsaw, and the farmer wearing a pig on his head, and
was it Uncle Freddy Fries?
What was that, Bloodletter?
Uncle Freddy's fried fritters?
I don't remember. I know they buried people.
Fritters.
Yeah, they cut their throats and severed their vocal cords and then put them in the ground and fed them to God. And they took the tractor and yanked them out of the ground.
Like carrots.
Right. Yeah. And so this idea of cannibalism was really, really great. And you kept that in TCM too. Through the chili and the eyeball pate and all these things, and Drayton's trying to run this business, and he sees his younger brothers, Chop Top and Bubba Leatherface, as kind of getting in the way of that success sometimes, So there's a sympathy, there's a sympathetic nature to Drayton that I find. He puts on that good face. He's trying to run a business. He's the working man, and but there the house, it is insane. And that's I think shown best in the scenes where Leatherface is chasing Stretch. You have all these great point of view camera shots going through all these long hallways that are all lit up with Christmas lights and lamps on the floor and like dolls and corpses and all these, like there's a bunch of corpses under a beach umbrella, just crazy stuff under Texas Battleland, Yeah, it's an absolute treat.
It was kind of nice in later years. not that Rob Zombie films are good, because they're not, but House of a Thousand Corpses. I mean, he paid tribute. He did that deliberately, because you look at the underground where Dr. Satan was and all that. I know it's a different film, but it was like, oh, this is so TCM2. This is exactly like TCM2. Yeah, that was creepy under Texas Battleland. I mean, there was really some creepy moments. The set was creepy. Like you said, Montag, all the corpses and the different positions they had them in, and how the bones are used more throughout for like furniture and different things like they did with the original. Yeah, the set pieces are great in that.
And there are moments that I found to be viscerally horrifying where toward the end, when they go see Grandma and Stretch is trying to start the chainsaw, and here's Chop Top as he's been slashing at her with a straight razor just over and over and over again, and he's slicing on her legs and on her back and just shredding her to pieces. I can feel that kind of stuff because I've known what it's like to have a paper cut or a razor cut. I don't know what it's like to have a chainsaw go through me, but I can remember, I know what a straight razor feels like. So, that I could feel. That was like a real tangible kind of horror. By that time, Stretch stops screaming and kind of turns the tables, and she kind of becomes insane. She's all the stuff she's had, and now it comes out. But it's a really intense scene as well, because that's where Chop Top brings that straight razors to his throat and draws it across. He's like, look at my face. He's drawing it across. He's like like death eating a cracker. Again, just funny and bizarre and terrifying, all mixed into one. Is still the reason why this movie is so enjoyable for me. I can watch it tomorrow, and I'll still be laughing at these lines. Especially when I'm watching it with either of you two, just knowing we're going to be like laughing our asses off, because it's a movie best shared with people who like the movie or like the genre. And if you've never seen it, well, you've spoiled quite a lot of it. But it is such an entertaining, enjoyable movie. All around, way better than a lot of the quote unquote horror that's out now.
I get that they don't show, they're not too graphic with it, and then you leave it to their imagination of like what do they have to do? What are they doing to process this meat and and all that stuff like that. I like the psychologicalness of it, of you filling in some of the blanks.
Yeah, we see the finished product with the chili, and then there's that scene where Lefty kicks in the wall, inside, and all those guts and entrails spill out. We see that scene, all those pieces. I'm thinking, couldn't they have used those too? To make some hot dogs or something? You could really taste the hog, the hog anus. Right. This is a thoroughly funny movie, enjoyable and disturbing. A lot of great lines. If you've seen this movie more than a few times, you probably have made these. You've probably done the lines yourself. I get embarrassed if I call in. Can I do it in person? It's just so easy to adopt these characters.
And the shimmy.
Yeah, the shimmy at the end, because then we see we see Stretch as kind of taking over for Leatherface.
That's right. The chainsaw shimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like her mind finally snapped from that sheer brutality and everything she went through, and now she traded places with Leatherface.
Yeah, and I would like to see another Stretch movie. I'd like to see the head of her own clan or something. What happened to Stretch going
Interesting
forward.
Premise, yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I asked Caroline once if she would be willing to do a cameo in one of my movies, and she said she doesn't do cameos. So I'm like, okay, well, thank you. Just to say like one line, so I could say starring Caroline Williams. I don't know if have every of you seen the Sharknado movies. It was
just one. I got through the first one.
They get better as they go. They get funny. We need to watch the Sharknados. Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, there's one of the Sharknados, I forget, number 5 maybe, where she and Gunnar Hansen are in it together, and she calls him Bubba, her little brother, or Bubba, my brother Bubba, and they run like a chainsaw shop. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's great.
It is, because because they obviously use a chainsaw to fight the sharks. Yes, you have to see that little. Like, Caroline, you told me you didn't do a cameo. Here's a cameo for Sharknado.
Well, I'm sure Sharknado could pay her a little more.
Who's going to get an IMDb credit and a free copy of the DVD?
No, that's right.
What more could she want? Caroline, I love you. Just saying. Any other thoughts on TCM2 while we're here? Anything more we think we can add to this discussion? Just kind of rambling discussion of all our little favorite moments.
I don't think I have anything else. My favorite things, Mosley Chop Top's my favorite, obviously, and we covered all the bases. Classic, this is absolutely. So yeah, I'm pretty much finished up.
Bloodletter.
I think I'm done too. I really like the set, and the way they designed the places, because I watched Texas Chainsaw first. I watched them back to back so I could see it all, and I mean, it would just be a scary set, and to be one of those actresses, being chased by these bizarre people would just be, horrifying.
And the creepy things you can do with some baby doll parts and bones. When you think about the TCM original, it is a slow moving, the sense of dread and menace builds up. But the interior of the house, it's just, kind of rotten food and flies and weird bone, kind of bones and stuff. It's like, and of course we know who the character of Leatherface is based on, right? What real life serial killer? Yes.
I heard that wasn't true.
I think Agin inspired Norman Bates and also inspired Leatherface and James Gumb. Yeah, James Gumb.
Okay.
I'd love to interview Ted Levine or Levine if you can. That would be an awesome interview. Ted, Mr. Levine, if you're out there, we love you, man. We'd love to have you come on the show. Oh, wait. Are you the guys who do the heavy metal horror?
Water outside is frightful.
We're gonna do a James Gumb sings Christmas songs.
We actually tried to. Me and Montag were trying to get him at some point. We were thinking about sending him a letter. Please do an album of Christmas songs.
Yeah,
for your true
as James Gumb. Wouldn't that be awesome?
As James Gumb.
Yes. Told me for bum.
Guys are just insane.
Yes.
And to the woods to grandmother's house we go.
Gonna cut that bitch open.
Bells, jingle fucking all the way. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Oh, Santa, was he a great big fat person? Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
So much goodness. All right. Well, I think we've blown our wad for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. It's a great movie. We've had such a fun time talking about it. Until next time, kiddies. This is Montag,
Chop Top,
and Bloodletter.
And you've been listening to Heavy
Metal
Horror.